Imagine you have 3 long sections to read. Each of them is made up of around 900 words. That's the equivalent of 1.5 a page. Added to that, you are required to answer 40 reading comprehension questions related to the sections. You have to do all that in no more than 60 minutes.
Are you serious? This is torture.
That's exactly what the IELTS reading test is about. Here is the question. Would you read these 3 sections word by word, line by line, from the first line till the end? If your answer is yes, then you are definitely wrong, simply because you have only 20 minutes for each section and it's 12 to 14 questions. What about focusing on just one text and neglecting the rest? Would you do that? If your answer is yes, that's certainly not the best decision that you would make. Don't get stuck. Here are the 8 secret rules to finish the reading test in 60 minutes only. Rule number 1. Questions follow text pattern. First of all, you should know that with the exception of a few ones, most of the questions follow the text pattern and order. Generally speaking, the answer to question number 1 is found in paragraph number 1, and the answer to question number 2 is found in paragraph number 2. But this rule doesn't apply to all the question types because certain questions, such as matching paragraph questions, are not in order. Rule number 2. Start with the questions. You won't be able to complete the entire reading test if you start by reading the text and then move to the questions. Instead, you should start by reading the questions and then move to reading the text. You should read the questions one by one. For example, you can start by reading the first question and then go to the first paragraph to find the answer. Read the paragraph quite fast, don't focus on details, and when you feel that the answer is somewhere there, you just slow down your reading pace and read that part carefully. You may read it a second time if needed. Do the same thing with the rest of the questions. Rule number 3. Use keywords. In each question of the IELTS reading test, there are some keywords that can help you recognize what information is sought. The keywords in the questions can indicate the correct answer in the text. For example, here I have a text speaking about the giant books publishers in the world, including Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. Here I have a set of questions for this text. Let's focus on any of these questions. For example, let's focus on question number 29. Here it is. Question number 29 reads, Amazon will, and then I have 3 alternatives, A, B, and C. The word Amazon here is very indicative and helpful. It shows me that the focus of this question is not on Microsoft or on Google, but rather on Amazon. So now I should go straight to the one paragraph here in this text that speaks of Amazon. Here it is paragraph D, not to be outdone, Amazon, the world's largest online retailer, etc. So it is through this word that I have located my answer in this 4th paragraph. It would be easier for me now to find the right answer out of these 3 alternatives here. Rule number 4. Timing per reading section. As every moment counts, you should know how to perfectly manage your 60 minutes. Most often, the first section of the IELTS reading test is the easiest one, and the last section is the hardest one. For this reason, try not to allocate equal timing for the 3 sections. In other words, instead of allocating 20 minutes for each section, you should better do the following. Spend around 15 minutes for the reading section number 1 because this is the easiest one. Then spend 20 minutes for the reading section number 2. Finally, spend around 25 minutes for the reading section number 3 because this section is the hardest one. Number 5. Don't rush or hasten. Actually, the reading test is a race against the clock. While trying to save time, you may rush through the questions. This can prevent you from understanding them correctly. Therefore, you should read each of the questions carefully, and sometimes you need to read it more than one time to give the right answer. The same thing applies for the reading text. You may accelerate or skip some sentences and details, but when you feel that your answer lies somewhere at a particular part, You should slow down your reading and read that part carefully. Number 6. Use skimming and scanning. Skimming and scanning are two of the most useful reading techniques in the IELTS reading test. Skimming is reading quickly to get the general idea. You can use this technique mainly with title match questions and heading match questions. As for scanning, it refers to searching for particular information such as dates, names, and numbers. You can use scanning for specific information questions. Rule number 7. Practice reading tests. You need to practice answering many IELTS reading tests which are available either online or in other formats. Every time you practice reading, you simulate the test situation as follows. First, use a stopwatch. Set it to 60 minutes. Then read the 3 sections of the test and answer the 40 questions. When you finish answering the reading test, you check your answers as well as the time you have spent on that test. When you practice answering IELTS tests, you familiarize yourself with IELTS question types such as true, false, not given questions and diagram label completion questions. The last rule in the series consists in answering all the questions. Even when you run out of time, try not to submit your paper with some questions unanswered. Answer your questions even by guessing, and in the worst case scenario, answer them randomly.